This is a digital animatronic design I'm working on, and this one here only has two servos inside the head. Uh, Later on, you'll see in the video where I changed and added a third servo to make brows, and it's just a simple mechanic. Um, Basically, it's how small can I make a tiny animatronic creature, and then do a digital skin with a digital core, and then make a silicone skin to make a animatronic. As you see here, I'm just doing a quick instructional type video to where I put this multi-piece animatronic together just to get it everything mounted, and I'm trying to get it as tight as I can in the design, but yet I simplify just to get it where I can make this thing move, give it somewhat of a realistic movement. Now the servos that I have here are a little bit stronger servos than, these I do believe are around $16 a piece. Now I want them to just be able to move the skin. Now I do have hinge mechanisms for the lips, and and basically they're not controlled by a servo, but by the jaw. By when you lift or when you open the jaw, the uh, the lip mechanism will open by the power of the jaw hinge. This is a fun little animatronic process I'm doing here. It's just to simplify a simple animatronic, just to move the mouth and the eyebrows and the eyelids. And and I did a silicone mold of the face, and uh, it's all based upon my resin printer, which is a Mars 3, and it's only 90 millimeters wide. And I wanted to print that on the flat build plate. That way it would stick better and just kind of avoid any kind of supports. But, and, and there's the resin needing to be stronger. Now I did paint some epoxy on the lids just to give them a little bit more strength. This is a two screw gimbal. Mainly it's kind of a tilting, and it can make it, move all directions, kind of like a U-joint. But but this is three servos, but two of the servos are doing the tilt mechanism. I don't have the third one connected yet, but the third one is a large one on the bottom. This makes it turn left and right. So then that way you can have a lot of control here. I just hook up the two servos to test, but mainly I test this before I put it on any kind of a servo controller. But it's a quite simple movement, but it gives it some character. I did the sculpt in ZBrush, and I'm adjusting the core here, and this is the final core, but you'll see how I had to edit each core because I was getting holes in it. It was too thin in certain areas. So I would just edit the STL file until I got the core to fit right. But I would just, if I deleted one in 3D space or import or export it, I could bring it back into the same 3D space. And everything's about measurements. So, but when you edit in a STL file, you'll find out that your file is different than what you've modeled because there's new lines and vertices, and you have to remove some of them, but here I am. I'm adding vent holes. It's time to put vent holes in this. But it turned out okay. I finally got the thickness correct. I'm trying to avoid, there's certain silicones I can use, and I'm doing the tests with dragon skin, but I'm doing this I'm casting in a silicone mold, and I'm using Mann's 200 release agent. But this is the second test here, and I'm just pouring the dragon skin in there and doing a test. But this is the last test that I've done earlier, and each test is 10 hours, but it didn't have holes in this one, so it turned out really well. So I have 3 different cores, and just mainly it was too thin in certain areas, but this is what I've achieved so far. It fits the animatronic correctly, so, but now I just gotta make it soft enough to work. I'm wanting to do these on PLA because I ain't gotta worry about, the silicone not working. But I got 3 different cores here, and you can see where it gets. I'm just getting the right thickness, but it fits the animatronic. So I'm happy with the results of the test. I made a short video here on changing these resin prints, the teeth, into dental acrylic, making tiny dentures for that little animatronic creature I'm testing, and also did another skin test with Ecoflex 10, and just to show you the process, to where I made the mold of the teeth and put tooth acrylic, and I'm removing what tooth acrylic I don't need. Basically just grinding off the pink or the gingiva area, or to the right there to the edge of the teeth. And being so small, it is kind of hard to do, but you just basically do 2 steps where you add the tooth acrylic, remove what you need, and place them back into the socket of the silicone mold and replace it with a pink tooth acrylic, and you'll get a pretty nice looking denture. And as you see here, you can see the new skin I'm working on. This was the first test I did with the skin, and it really is flexible. I really like this. This is great. Working on this animatronic, trying to get the lips to move, and using these wires and housing, trying to get them to move just a few millimeters to give it some kind of realistic movement. And you can see where I can have even the jaw have just a little bit of give to it to give it kind of protrusive jaw movement. And every little tick gives a little bit of different kind of expression. But it's getting there. It's just always testing. I am. But you have a lot of RC stuff, hobby, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, You have boats, planes, cars, you name it. How about creatures? This is the first test with a servo controller and VSA. As you see here, here's the first movements. I took about 10 takes. Slowly, after about the ninth take, I noticed some of the skins peeling away, the adhesive wanting to release, but it could be my fault because I'm not putting a whole lot of adhesive in these areas to where the mechanics, I don't want it to put any kind of a bind. But I'm pleased with the results. So what do y'all think? And I did have brow movements, but for some reason, it's one of those things is you think you're recording, but you're not. But they do work. This tiny animatronic wanted to show. I didn't film it yesterday. I thought I did, but here's the eyebrows moving just to show you some of the more expressions that the tiny animatronic has. So you have a servo controlling the brow, the servos controlling the eyelids, a servo controlling the jaw, and then you have two other servos that are dangling in the background that are controlling the lips. As far as it's working well, but I would like to make some changes by just redesigning and put wing servos in it instead. That would give me a little bit more room so I could maybe add 4 inside.